Little cutie. Hi. You know I had to greet you properly. It wouldn't be the same if I didn't. Besides, I know how much you like it. You do like it, right? Have no fear, little cutie. You should leave everything to me, if only for the fact that I simply do things best. And with us, it's always been that way, of this maddening rush of you and I. Hey, that's not the reaction I was hoping for. Did something happen? Do I need to have a word with someone? It doesn't really matter which. You say the word, I believe you. No one has a right to steal away the smile. Little cutie, you know full well what we agreed upon. And we need to talk about it if you're not going to be honest. Now, who do I have to kill? You can tell me, of course. Even when I'm being, well, me about things, it doesn't change the fact that I'm your man. It doesn't take away from that. Therefore, if anyone gets in my way or anyone makes you sad, well, they'll just end up on the newspaper someday. Not in that way. I'll expose them, silly. I don't need to resort to petty violence. I'll make sure the world knows what kind of horrible person they are. To mess with you, of course. What did you think, baby? Pretty cool, right? It'd be a shame if I didn't use all these good looks, all this wonderful time, for something bigger than myself. Well, you know that's saying something. Was it too soon? Hey, little cutie. Don't look at the ground. Look at me instead. That's what I'm looking for. That face that could make even the devil have a blush. As for me, it always warms my heart to see you like this. As much as I'd like to say it's something far more than that, but it's simple. Love doesn't have to be something so conniving or with many plots involved. It can be simple, right? Just you and I. And whatever that makes us, it makes us everything. And besides, I've shown you more of myself than I've shown anyone else ever. You should know at least that that's special to me. Not just anyone gets to know what's really going on in there. Do you feel lucky, baby? To share in so many random things with me? Doesn't have to have a name, I've realized. You've taught me the need to be more gentle with my pride. Of course, it only kind of works, but even then, think about it. You and I, we have so many things to do yet. We have great lives to live. But I would give it all up. My princely attitude, everything. If I could only help you now. Little cutie. I don't just say those words lightly. Never have, never will, and I want you to feel safe with me. I don't just want our meetings to be about business or pleasure. I want them to be about so much more. That real connection we have, that thing that everybody else wishes they had, and that truth that is so often missing in relationships. Believe it or not, little cutie, even if you're the first to really get to me, I've had to deal with a lot of people who are fake, ever present, always wanting something for another thing. Those ulterior motives, they haunted me, scarred me, because I learned that you can't trust people at face value, or so I thought. Then I met you, of course, but you can't really hide things. And that makes me feel safe around you. I know it's probably not very surprising, but you're a very truthful and kind person. And I believe in that truth and kindness. I believe in it with all my heart. In fact, if not for you, I'd probably be shut out somewhere pretending I'm happy, pretending that everything in the world doesn't bother me, that I'm not a lonely son of a bitch at the end of the day that just wants someone to care. I'm used to being seen as average, the average being extraordinary, and that extraordinary only warranting a good job and nothing else. I want you to praise me, but not for the reasons you're thinking, not to stroke my ego either. The reason why I put myself in such a place and did what I did is because I've never gotten that recognition from my family. It's always been about status quos and reaching a bare minimum. What's expected of the family name, etc., etc. But little cutie, you make me feel alive. Unlike those stooges up there, for all their money and power. They've never made me feel much except for inadequate. And that's why, little cutie, I'm so thankful to have you. That's why, even if the stars in the sky go out, I'd hope to still be in a bunker somewhere with you. But even then, I'm sure we could think of some better way to spend our time than reminiscing of what-ifs in the future. I just thought it would take your mind off things, get you back into a simpler mindset. Sometimes simple things are the best, don't you think? Of course, all that aside, I just wanted to make you smile. Did it work even a little? I can't tell if you're putting that on for me or if it's genuine. I have just the plan to make sure. So it was genuine then. I'm glad it was. But where are my manners kissing you out of the blue? More than any of that, I want you to know that this isn't some smoke and mirrors. When I say I want you, I mean I want you. There is no whimsical, playful, or any other way. Just whatever feeling fits that moment. It's a feeling dedicated to you. Can't you understand? Thank you for your patience. As much as I'd like to laugh, sometimes you have to not to cry. And you have that look in your eyes. As if something's bothering you and I want to be that prince. Not just in my image, but in reality. I want to be your prince. I think it's quite the aspiration, and has a whole lot more meaning to it than what the public eye thinks, even if they think I'm wonderful. I care what you think more. Don't you realize, after all those layers, if you cut it all away, at the end of the day, all I want is you. My greed knows no bounds, apparently. Of course, even then, I think it's ironic. I've placed so much into expectations and reaching them that I almost missed out on what was most important to me right in front of me. Right in this warm embrace. Little cutie. I love you. But not in the way that you're thinking. Nah. It's a way that I can't put into words, and you can't put into thought. I only know that for two reasons. Because one, I know a lot of things. And two, you still have a lot to learn about how this love thing works. I'm just glad I do too. It's fair, isn't it? Something we're both terrible at, yet something we're both so passionate about, so naturally, we'll get to the bottom of this, won't we? You think so too, don't you? I think there's nothing better than this. You and I. I'm sorry. I got in my thoughts again, wondering to myself why I still compare myself. Why I still go by those archaic ways that my family instilled in me. And even now, it's not something I should be thinking about. Not when you're feeling the way you are. Not when I can be that cure. Little cutie. Shall I spoil you a little bit? I'm sure you'd enjoy it. Just the time and place is different, right? Even right now in my apartment, there is a lot to love. Don't mind the fact that it's a mess. It only reflects the owner, right? And you've seen so deep into my heart that it doesn't really matter what you see at this point. I just want it to be your eyes, your heart. And I get to share them with no one else. Those may be archaic terms in our society today, but I regret nothing. Absolutely nothing. Little cutie. I could stay here forever, you know that, right? As long as you'll be there by my side, of course. And even then, there's so much more I want to do. Never enough time, but I'll make time for you. So what shall we do first, huh? Don't tell me you're thinking the same as me. I suppose that's as good of an answer as any. Little cutie. You need to be more honest, don't you? My baby should be at least as honest as me. I know. It took you seeing through me for it to reach that point. But perhaps I can see through you a bit too. What then? Would you be honest? Then tell me. I don't care what it is that's haunting you. Do you know why? It's because no matter what it is, no matter how helpless or hopeless I might be, I won't give up and I won't give in. What you have is a real bona fide prince who will save you, no matter what horrible situation we face. I swear it on my life and on my love for you. There is nothing that's too far. Nothing that will ever be inadequate between us, and nothing that is the bottom line. You're not good enough. You're way more than you'll ever need to be for a status quo. Because, baby, this isn't just about that. Sweetheart, this is so much more. You and I, we have something that others don't. And it's the acceptance that failure is just what it is. A learning experience, right? And if I'm a great big failure, at least I can be one learning to become a success for you. And by no means do I mean that in a toxic way. Not even close. But isn't trauma in itself difficulties? The things that make you cry and keep you up at night. They're only things that are obstacles, ones built for us to rise against, right? Not to trivialize them, but you're not alone anymore. Little cutie, you're not alone anymore. You're safe. You're valid, and your feelings are too. And I appreciate you so much for sharing them. Because the truth is, it was difficult sharing my own before, and breaking down with you was one of the best things that ever happened to me, so I want to lend you my shoulder. And looking at those eyes of yours sometimes, it makes me cry a little. And I know I have no business crying for others, but sometimes I believe deep down that when someone else can't find the courage to cry, or can't find the ability to, the willpower to, the intent to mourn, maybe my tears can be shed for you. Maybe I can help you express that trauma without you feeling trapped anymore. Maybe that's how I can be your prince. Maybe it's not so easy to solve that puzzle piece of life that always haunts you, that always makes us difficult. But even then, even if I fail, I'll never give up on you. I'll never stop making you smile in any way that I can, and at whatever expense necessary. Because I didn't bring you into this relationship to tell you something, to show you something, or to do something. I brought you here to the recesses of my heart because I wanted to show you that you are good enough for me, even if sometimes you might think you're not. I know how that feels. If anything, I've criticized myself for not being good enough for you, but even as I sit here, a CEO atop the world by the world's standards, I don't care. I don't need those things. Being good at things was always just a crutch. You don't have to be good because you're already perfect. And those little improvements that you do, little cutie, they only add to what makes you wonderful already. That smile, those eyes, the way that you always find a way to make me smile, even when I feel like crying, is incredible, really. You make me feel when my heart feels dead. And I think it's high time I give you that same respect and love that you've always, always, always deserved, but never credited yourself. You're like the world's greatest author, only you didn't write a pen name or anything to remember you by. That's how it feels sometimes. I know you don't need to. The world is not something you need to appease nor to reach out for, but I still think that story you've written is most impactful for me, and something that truly deserves to be shared only within this room, this office left to be. I'm glad right now that only you can see me. If it wasn't for that, I think I would have lost my heart to do so. Because, as you know, as much as I'm confident in myself, it's also brutally lacking when it comes to others being involved. Images, expectations, everything. And sometimes I just need to hug you. Sometimes I just need a kiss. Sometimes I just need to hear you breathe. Then I feel just a little bit more safe, a little bit more grounded, that I've done things at least somewhat right enough that we're going to be okay. That the world, as much as it is whirlwind. No, more like a tornado. That we won't get swept up in it so easily. That we're safe in our little recesses of our hearts and love, and I just want you to know that no one glistens as bright as the city but you. No one glistens like the stars I see in your eyes. And you could say it's the circle lights or the biases of love. But even then, so what? It takes away nothing from the fact that you've changed my life for the better, and I love you for it. That's why I wanted to offer the olive branch of allowing you to convey what you feel more. Because you deserve that and so much more. But you never give yourself a chance. You're always giving others. Giving until there's nothing left. That's what I fear most. Not so much losing you as you losing yourself. I think it's terribly ironic how I want to save someone who, in ways, doesn't need saving and has saved me, but deep down, deeper than anyone cares to look because everyone looks at the surface. I want to see you for your heart, not just that gorgeous face. You are my little cutie after all, but even then, there comes times when I want to see you for you. Not just with my eyes open, but with my eyes closed too. To see you for your heart, to look deeper within even than that. Because you deserve someone who loves you unquestionably and without limits. And to that end, while you know that I no doubt am a good candidate for it, I think I could do more. Money and riches mean nothing. And I would give up my position right now and live a simple life with you if it meant your smile being fully there. And then again, little cutie, I can't be that serious with it. You do, after all, like a man in a suit. Care to feel it? This one, I got designer choice. And I picked it out because I quizzed you that other day on which was your favorite color and matching. So this was the epitome, the ultimatum of a bunch of fashion decisions all at once. And I chose it just for you, of course. That's why I wore it today. Because I knew today, somewhere deep down, would be a difficult one, or at least a complicated day. And as you know, complicated things can be rather tricky to deal with. Of course, between you and me, we had a good run of it, I think. And you were more honest, even if you might not see it. I'm proud of you. So much more than proud of you, actually. I'm proud and happy. Because even if things aren't perfect, they're more than good enough to make a powerful start. And what more could we ask for, right? You and I starting out, again renewing things. Making the old and the new blended together in a fun little exchange. Of course, I mean whatever you think I mean. There doesn't have to be a greater meaning in it, despite how it looks, little cutie. Now, of course, affection, love, romance, everything plays its role. And yet even then, there is no system to it to justify, no passion that goes along with the numbers. It's all about what we feel. You and I. You want to know what I feel? Well, I feel such a comfortable warmth coming from you, in such a way that makes my heart race. I also feel a desire to tease you ever so slightly. Of course, I'm not the only one with that desire, am I? Judging by where your hand can wander sometimes. Even then, the doors are locked and the lights are low. I wonder what that means for us. Little cutie. Of course, I'm waiting for your input as well. Now that could be interpreted many different ways, so I'm going to need more specifics on that. Then, what am I going to do with you, I wonder? Or what are you going to do with me, I suppose would be another way to word it. Even then, I'm happy just being able to be. Just being able to feel. As for what happens next, I suppose you either let me decide or I let you decide. In this office here, you can hear the bustling and hustling of work, but then, what happens if we ignore it? What happens if I don't care about work right now? Oh, don't worry about that. I'll get in trouble later. And of course, maybe another lecture or two, but so what? Are you insinuating that I would care what anyone else thinks but you? If I get in trouble, then so be it. I'll talk to the board members and everyone else later. Right now, despite it being working hours, I have some work to take care of with you. And that is giving you the time and the place and the feeling and the passion to do what comes natural. Whatever that might be. Little cutie. It's good to see you smiling again. But then again, that neck of yours is looking rather lonely, isn't it? Not so lonely now, is it? But even then, I'd say you've learned a thing or two, haven't you? You know how to deal with me, perhaps better than anyone. And that's intriguing, because I think the opposite is not yet true. Handling you has been rather tricky left and right and all around. I wonder why it is. You're no fair. Not even giving me a hint? Is that supposed to be a hint, little cutie? I wonder. It's like a riddle. Something that only makes sense if I really put my mind to use, and you know how slow I can be on the uptake to things, so perhaps I'll make my own rules of it, since there's been some angst. Perhaps more love, more passion. That is the solution I've come to, so you can sit here. Not there. Here. Little cutie. I'm afraid there's no rule that separates or prevents you from sitting on my lap at work. So, for now, you should just deal with it and allow me to thoroughly cuddle you. Unless, of course, it's too embarrassing for you, and you lost your nerve somewhere. Careful now. I wouldn't want you to get too flustered. Of course, judging by how you are, you don't have anything to worry about, do you? Just look at you. Healthy, wonderful, smiling and somewhat agitated. You look as right as rain. But you're wide open. You can't blame me for this, can you? We've had a rough day, and this is our leave, I suppose. A necessary leave for many different reasons. Oh, not going to show me more of that side? Someone's pouting, but it just makes you that much more adorable. What am I going to do with you? I can never figure you out. Never understand it, but at the same time, I did say I wouldn't give up, so perhaps I'll just have to perform some thorough experimentation. And, of course, blatant abuse of power. In the sense that I'm taking up your time, but you could leave if you want. But something tells me you don't want that. Something tells me you want to unravel this man in his suit and see what's inside. Understand him and figure him out in ways that doesn't sound like I'm talking third person. Don't worry about that. Little cutie, I'm curious what you're going to do next. Show me, won't you? I'm dying to know. I just want you to know it. Isn't that common courtesy to convey it? How much I love you, how much I need you, and how much this time we spend together means to me. Absolutely nothing will ever come between us, and I'll make sure of that. Little cutie, you agree, don't you? I certainly hope so, or I'd be lost. Stuck in some kind of limbo without you. And if I'm going to be stuck in some interdimensional plane of existence, I'd much rather it be with you, honey. Honey? That's my honey. My beautiful, beautiful baby. Is it too embarrassing when I talk to you like this? Even though you're sitting on my chair and enjoying my company in my office. My, little cutie. My honey. You should be careful. If someone were to see us, rumors might start. Even though I think everyone in the office probably knows exactly who we are and what we're doing together. Staying together, of course. You and I will always be together, won't we? I couldn't think of a day without you anymore. Before I met you, it was different. We were still trying to figure out what to do. When I eventually took the company, you seemed supportive enough, but when you joined the very same company, you seemed like you suddenly had a problem with it. We'd been dating for years at that point, and now look at us. Honey, you're so cute when you're flustered. What do you mean the feeling's mutual? I mean, I suppose I might have a nice flustered face too. I don't usually look in the mirror when I'm flustered, so I'll just take your word for it. And about what we said. This is between you and me, okay? We're the team, and everyone else doesn't matter like that. Not in the same way that we matter, baby. And I won't take no for an answer, because if we're going to be two of a kind and beat a full house, we'll have to make a few adjustments, won't we? I was thinking maybe, just maybe, I might tell everyone about us. Make it public knowledge, since I'm a bit of a celebrity myself. What do you think? Doesn't it sound more exciting that way? Or are you going to give me the embarrassment issue? Honey, I simply can't wait to see the look on your face when it's headlines in the news, top article. You best remember, little cutie, you got involved in this, so take responsibility, won't you?